Gal, Arsenal, unstoppable at the moment.
Unbelievable, Terry. We've scored 20, what is it, 25 or 26 goals? I can't even remember.
25 in 6 games.
25 in 6 games. And I think you tweeted out something about us not even having more than 6 shots.
You've conceded 7 shots on target in the last 5 games. In fairness, it's mad. Football gods. I tweeted that. 72 seconds exactly later, you conceded. Literally my fault. That's the football gods. But yeah, 7 shots on target. You've conceded in 5 games. In the Premier League, you're ridiculously good right now.
I really do believe this team is coming into... I think Mikel Arteta not only unleashed the shackles in February, but Trossard, the ability to take people out and rotate. Mikel Arteta is starting to figure out, and he's learning as a manager when to use certain players and how to rotate the squad, because the rotations that he's been making lately have benefited us massively. Knowing when to bring in Jorginho in this game, having games where he's bringing in Trossard and what do you call it, and then also having games where you're playing other players. The ability to just rotate players and have that quality in the team has helped us massively throughout this little good period that we've had, because we haven't been playing the exact same way. When you have Declan Rice playing in the 8, then you have him playing in the 6 the next game, it's kind of throwing teams off. And our set piece coach deserves a massive round of applause. He has been doing wonders this season. We came back from Dubai. Declan Rice been on the corners. He's already gotten 4 assists from being on set pieces, and the set piece coach deserves a raise. The fact that Bukayo Saka is on this ridiculous form, but yet people keep wanting to have a world-class debate, just makes me laugh. Like, can we not just appreciate what he's doing right now? Although, of course, I'm going to say he's world-class, but I don't really care what anybody else says at this point with how he's performing. If he keeps doing this and you guys aren't calling him world-class, well, if he leads us to a league title, then we'll know what you're going to have to say. And I really do believe if we can just find our way to see out the rest of the season against the small teams and have these kind of performances, our goal difference is going to be a crucial part to this league title. Because if it comes down to close points, that goal difference is just that little buffer you have to help you. I know it's never going to be level on points at the end of the season. That's rare. But of course, we've seen situations where that goal difference can play a factor and teams try to go for it, and it can hurt them. So it's good that we're there and thereabouts. And the team is not only clicking on the defensive end, but we're scoring goals too. So it's wonderful to see, Terry. I love it from every single aspect. And I don't think there's a Gunnar out there that wouldn't say we're in this. Like, this title race, we're in it. And anybody who was counting us out going into the Liverpool game is looking very foolish right now.
Rory, how important was it to respond in that way? Because I feel like the world and his dog that's against Arsenal, and there's a lot of people, of course, that are rivals in the media and such. Well, Porto was an awful performance. How is that going to impact the Newcastle game? How important was it, do you think, to respond the way you did?
Yeah, it was definitely important. I think now that we're kind of properly into the title race, you look at it, and I don't know if Tom will agree, but like, you're looking at City and Liverpool's games in our case, and you're looking at the ones where you're like, that could be a slip up. That could be where they drop points. And I think Newcastle, 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night, less than 72 hours after an away match in Europe. Like, that was one of those games where I think rival fans would have looked at it and gone, that's where they could drop points. And so that puts more pressure on that game. And so to come out and not even give them a game that they could kind of get their hopes up, maybe it's 0-0 at halftime or whatever, to absolutely put the game to bed by halftime, I think was massive. And the way that, the one thing Newcastle have, they're not as good this season as they were last season. They've got their own issues, but they're still a team that will work hard. And for us, off the back of that European game, to come and just suffocate them in that first half the way that we did is a massively good sign for us. And it's a good thing going into, the rest of the season and the title race, if we do stay in Europe, knowing that off the back of those European games, we can come back to the Premier League and have games like that. I think it's massive for us. So should be good for the confidence.
So, go on.
I was gonna say, do you know what? As a rival in this top, I was about to say top 4 race, title race. Sorry, in this title race. I have to give props to Arsenal. They seem like they turned a corner. It seemed like the bye trip has really, really helped them. They're scoring freely and they're conceding less chances every game than any other team. So it is looking good. I'm not gonna lie, it is looking good. And I have said this from the beginning of the season, and Terry, you know this, where I said, I don't believe one of the teams will run away with it. I believe it's going to be close until the end of the season. I genuinely believe it will be the top 6 games. Whoever wins the most top 6 games or takes advantage when others drop points in those top 6 games will win the league. But my only question to Arsenal is this. Before the Christmas break, you were kind of faltering, where you lost to, I believe it was West Ham, Fulham, and I think you lost another game, but you were kind of faltering. You needed a break to get back and refresh yourself. What happens when the team gets tired again? That's my question. Because one thing is that Arsenal right now, what I've seen of them is that they're very comfy because I believe there's not much pressure on them as such because they're third. Because nobody's really looking at them in a sense of City, Liverpool on top of them. But what happens if you actually come first?
Let me
and then the pressure's on you.
Let me say this. It's not really about the pressure. To me, one major tweak I've noticed is Mikel Arteta is doing better at rotating the squad slightly. He's doing a little better job rotating the squad, making sure players don't get overworked. Where I felt like going into that winter break where we were playing consistently, he didn't do as good as a job rotating the squad. Maybe he didn't trust in some of the players as much. Maybe you didn't see as many opportunities to rotate. But if you look at the team right now, you're seeing players coming in and out of the side quite consistently. And that is a big part to play in how we're keeping this form going. I don't think it's a situation where it's a lack of pressure or the fact that we're third. I think it's just we use that moment to regroup, and the managers also use that moment to regroup and evaluate how they're coaching. And I felt like that's where we've improved on set pieces and where we've improved on rotation and squad management. And I need to credit the manager on his change there. But it's not like the players. It's not like the players were bad players. They just needed more. They just needed more help from.
I'll just send them back, but I'll just send them back to Dubai. I was looking at it. We've got like 8 days between now and Sheffield. Get a quick little 4 days in Dubai and come back again. I'll do that 3-4 times till now.
Do you want to wait off the Dubai magic though?
Well, yeah, but send them back to Dubai. Re-up it. Whatever we did out there.
As well.
Whatever they took out there.
I feel like, like Sam said, Arsenal being sick, and no one expected them to blow the teams. Have done how many goals they scored at 25 in the last few games. That's quite sick. And no one would have thought they would have done that, especially before Christmas. But 2 points I'd like to make are, not to be negative, but just put perspective on the title race, is that just before Christmas, these same fan base were literally saying, we might not win the league. And then they beat like Burnley, West Ham, Newcastle. I don't know who the other team was. I mean, Liverpool. They beat. Liverpool obviously is the anomaly because that's a big win.
6-game
now
winning
it's like, sorry?
6-game winning streak, by the way.
But as in before that, you hadn't won in 8. So what I'm trying to say is that it flipped very quickly, which kind of like Arsenal's temperament as a fan base. So it'll be interesting to see. The first point is how it goes, how their performances will naturally drop off because you can't score 6 goals every game, can you? So at the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see how the narrative changes. The reason why I said that is because City are just getting over the line, and there seems to be like a narrative, and Liverpool to some extent, that it's not sustainable, and they're playing kind of. It's kind of interesting because if you'd swapped that before Christmas, it would be completely different. Everyone was saying City were flying again, and Arsenal were the ones flopping. So I don't know about peaking too early is my point, but I don't know. I feel like
I'd say the other way around. If it was Arsenal that were just getting over the line and scraping 1-0 wins, and it was City that were winning, smashing them, everyone would be like, City are just going to cruise to the title. So that's the other side. What if we do just... Yeah, I know because they've done it so many times before. I get the logic. Yeah. I still think City will win the league, but like, what if Arsenal do just keep up this pace?
Oh, you actually don't think Arsenal can win? You're not positive Arsenal can win the league?
I still like complete bias out of it. If you put a gun to my head and said pick the winning team, I'll pull the trigger. If you're wrong, I'd go. I still think City just because of the history. Just because
you're not one of those fans who this isn't me putting words in your mouth. Do you actually think that? Linking Arsenal and City together, that City's performances, are you questioning them a bit, or are you just saying, they're just going through this now and they'll find their way and they're going to win the league? Is that why you're saying this?
Yeah, I mean, I am beginning to question them. Like, the closer we get to the game with them, without them hitting their stride and with us playing the way we are, like, I wish we could play them next weekend. And the closer that game gets, and if the two teams keep playing the way that they are, we play them at the end of March. The closer we get to that game,
there is a fundamental difference between believing Arsenal can win the league and thinking Arsenal will do it. Because Arsenal can win the league, Liverpool can win the league, City, of course, can win the league. Aston Villa, I thought they'd start falling. They had a little bumpy patch. They theoretically could win the league from this point, but it's the probability of it happening. And Arsenal's is still Arsenal. I think teeter between second and third favourites due to I think with Liverpool's injury problems and to see how long they last. That's probably putting Liverpool right now into third place in the title running. But it's marginal differences between all of them. I think what Arsenal have got on their side, which. When I listened to the punditry after their game this weekend, I saw some of the clips that people sent me through from Talk Sport. It's the 7 shots as much as scoring. You're right; they're not going to score 6 goals, 5 goals, 4 goals consistently. They're not going to do that because I read a stat that in the 8 years that Pep's been here, his team at home have averaged 2.7 goals per game. So no one's going to average 4 or 5, 6 goals. But it's the lack of opportunities they're conceding, which I think is Arsenal's biggest strength because they've been that way for the majority of the season. So, and now the goals have been added to it. The other two teams have the know-how and quality players, but they're not playing. Arsenal on form are the best team in the league right now, but the other two have just got that know-how. And I think, let's see what the form looks like in a few weeks, but I think it's a really nice balance for the title race this year, if that makes sense. Because if City were all guns blazing with their experience, I think it would make the title race a little boring, but I think it adds a real nice jeopardy, a real nice undertone to it. And yeah, it's especially they keep. I think Arsenal now. I don't know about you. I want to ask Patty this question. Do you think Arsenal are going to win all the way up now until that City game, which I think is in about 3 or 4 matches for them?
Tell me who you lot have got, Rory and Gal.
We've got Sheffield United away, we got Brentford at home, and then we might have Chelsea at home, but that might get postponed if they win their next FA Cup game. So we might only have 2 games, which would be Sheffield United away and Brentford at home.
I mean, those are the teams, and unfortunately, yeah. I mean, obviously, football's football and anything can happen, but realistically, when you look at the form that Arsenal are in, and pretty much everything you said, Terry, they're suffocating teams, they're not allowing teams to play, and then they're just scoring goals for fun. And of course, there are going to be times. It's weird because in the Champions League, that was the massive anomaly to not have a shot on target, considering how Arsenal have been playing. That was mental. So it can happen, but realistically, they are going crazy at the moment, and it is annoying to see. Like I was out on Saturday, but obviously I had my alerts on, and I'm saying 1-0, 2-0. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake, Arsenal got this. Like it was just straight away, you knew they had won the game, and it's annoying. But yeah, hopefully at some point they will star. But pretty much my prediction from the beginning of the season, everyone that tunes in here, I said it will be a 3-horse title race going into it. Arsenal, Liverpool and City. And then I said whoever gets 4th will probably be about 10 points behind. And it's kind of looking like that. So, through gritted teeth, I have to say,
I think the fixture list will be interesting. The fixture lists for both.
Yeah. I was just about to ask this to Galen and Rory. Do you think that there's the potential that the Chelsea game could get postponed should they get past Leeds in the FA Cup? That would leave you with, if I'm right, 3 or 2.5 weeks until between your last game and the City game. Is there not a case of that international break coming at the wrong time because of the momentum you've just built up where you are just flying now, and now you've just sort of got to go, right, stop now? And then everyone's back on a sort of level playing field. Obviously, it could work out well. You go off to Dubai again with whoever's not on international duty. You do whatever you do in Dubai again. That just seems to work wonders, and then you're back on fire. But speaking from experience, we always used to struggle coming off international breaks because you'd build up so much momentum, and then for 2 weeks you got nothing, and it's coming back with the expectation that kills you. So I was just wondering, do you worry about that if Chelsea? I know it'll be 2 weeks if it's regardless, but if it's Chelsea and then you beat Chelsea just before the international break, I think that does your momentum. That's supposed to carry your momentum through it rather than what it could be.
I wish the Chelsea game was tomorrow. With their kind of morale right now, obviously you want to get that game out of the way, and obviously the teams that we're playing. But I really do think it's going to come down to that City, Manchester United, Tottenham away. Those 3 games is going to be where our league title hopes are going to are going to be tied to. So I'm not too concerned about the international break, because I find Arsenal off the back of international breaks, we're a lot stronger. I don't know about Rory, but lately I find that we've been doing a lot better, and the team is looking very, very healthy at this moment in time, and everyone's coming back from full health. So this could just actually keep us going for the rest of the season. I'm not too concerned.